Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be talking about how and why you need to start a business. This is something that people dream about, they think about, they ruminate on, but they're really not quite sure. So we're going to talk about that today because here's the thing. Being an entrepreneur, it's hard. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to tell you it's all rainbows and sunshine. It's not. Okay. But the pros significantly outweigh the cons. So if you're new here, my name is Taylor Darcy from Think Legal, where I help you create the business of your dreams as well as people thrive. So welcome. Glad you're here. I go live Monday through Friday, most days, at 11 right now. So if you have legal questions that you want to get answered or just help for your business, please tune in. That's what I'm here for. This is what the purpose is. So make sure that you join. Don't forget to hit subscribe and like and hit that bell icon. Let's see. Yeah, don't miss that for future videos because lots of wisdom and help for yourself that we're bringing. So please make sure, don't forget to do that. And let's get started, shall we? Awesome. Welcome back. So we're going to go through about 7 reasons why you need to be your own boss, or that's the first one, or why you should start a business. But first, we're going to talk about how. Okay. Number 1, anybody that sells a product technically has started the business. It's really not that hard. You have something you want to sell someone, whether it be your services or whether it be a physical product, doesn't matter, whichever, doesn't matter which it is, you are technically have started a business. Now, what you do with it after that is what can make or break you. Because here's the thing. What most people don't understand is, and there's this weird thing in the entrepreneur world, I don't quite understand it because I'm a part of a lot of entrepreneur groups, but this weird thing is that they think you don't need a plan. And as the saying goes, if you plan to fail, you fail to if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. There we go. Because here's newsflash for you. If you don't know where you're going, how are you going to get there? When was the last time you sat down and wrote out some goals? So say you have a product that you're selling, whatever it is, and you're like, woohoo, I'm making money. But do you know how much you're making? Or are you just kind of going on a wing and a prayer? Do you know what your profit margins are? Do you know what your cost of goods sold? Do you know what your everything costs in regards to that? A lot of people don't. A lot of entrepreneurs don't. So first thing I can tell you is you don't have to come up with a crazy business plan. You don't have to sit down and do crazy stuff. But you do need to make sure that you're giving people value for their money, right? You need to give, even if it's on a napkin, okay? It does not have to be something where you're spending a lot of time on it to begin with, okay? To get started, what's your goal? If it's just to have a side hustle that you just need to do your business and get some extra cash to pay off some bills, great. That's okay. Don't let anybody tell you that you have to do things that you don't want to do. But in the context of starting a business, it's important that you have customers. I know this is a crazy thing, but here's what happens, and I get this a lot. People will start a business, or they'll think of a great idea, or they think it's a great idea. Here's the problem. Doesn't mean the rest of the world thinks it's a good idea. Or maybe you have one person. I don't know. Maybe you have two people. There was a Big Bang episode that talked about this. They were developing this app that could solve a specific type of equation, but in order to be profitable with it, they had to sell it for $10,000 per app because there wasn't going to be enough demand for it. That happens a lot more than you know in entrepreneur worlds. People start selling something or trying to sell something that there's no market for it. So the how to start a business, find out if what you want to sell actually has a market. I know it's crazy, but it's true. Okay. Find out if it's something that is sustainable. One of my mentors, one of the guys that I look up to, Sean Cannell with Think Media, not Think Legal, Think Media, says success leaves blueprint. Yep, there we go. Success leaves footprints, right? I'm not saying there aren't great new invention idea-wise, but even Steve Jobs with the iPhone was still a phone. It was a reiteration. It was an innovation. It wasn't a true invention in that respect, right? The first phone, Edison, yes, absolutely. But since then, it's evolved, it's innovated, but it's not necessarily new. So the best thing I can tell you about getting started is find a product that needs improvement and then improve on that product because it already has a market. That's some gold right there. Okay. Because money is where it's at, right? Like if you aren't in business to make money, what are you in business for? I mean, like, I'm not saying that's the whole purpose of being in business, but it's a big one, right? Like if you can't feed your family, if you can't take care of people, then what's the point? So, all right, why you need a business. This is right here. Number one, absolute number one reason why you need a business. Be your own boss. And technically your customers are really the boss because as I was saying earlier a few minutes ago, if you don't have something that somebody wants to buy, then you don't have a business, right? But the idea that you can be the captain of your own fate, be able to control things that you weren't able to control as an employee, there's so much more freedom, okay? Or I like to characterize it as flexibility, right? The reason why is because, yeah, you're going to have to work a lot, and you're probably going to have to work harder as an entrepreneur than you do as an employee. And so your risk is higher, but your potential for reward is higher. We'll talk about that. But being your own boss has so many more rewards than being an employee. You get to decide so many things about the company, what products to sell, what not to sell, the type of culture, the type of things that you want to do, the people that you want to help. You get to pick all of that, right? If somebody doesn't fit what you're looking to do, then don't pick them, right? You can pick your employees. You get to decide if this is somebody that you want to work with. And that's a big deal, right? That's not something small that, you know, I've worked for other people before, and I absolutely prefer working for myself. And I don't mean that because I can't work with other people. I absolutely can. But what do I mean by that? If I need to let somebody go because they're not contributing enough, rather than having to worry about complaining to the boss or to them, I can have those frank discussions. They're hard. Don't get me wrong. They're hard discussions, but they're meaningful. And you can affect real positive change in not only your life, but also other people's lives by doing this. So that's the number one reason right there. Be your own boss. The next thing is you can defy typical job descriptions, right? You don't have to fit into a round, you don't have to be a square peg trying to fit into a round hole or vice versa. You can become the type of person that will give you what you need. Okay. What do I mean by that? Some days you're going to be a receptionist. Some days you're going to be marketing. Some days you're going to be CEO. Some days you're going to be doing the work. The key is to get out of those roles as quickly as possible, if at all possible. Hiring marketing, hiring an attorney when needed, that type of thing. So, but in the beginning, you're going to wear a lot of hats, which is so much more fun, right? Rather than going to a job and just being told what to do, and you have this you have this one little thing that you think about all day, and that's all you focus on. You get to focus on lots of different things, lots of different opportunities there, so much more than you do as a regular employee. And that isn't dissing. Please don't misunderstand. This is not about disrespecting employees. They absolutely have a role and a goal to fulfill. But as an entrepreneur and as a business owner, you don't have that luxury to begin with. Unless you're starting with a crazy amount of capital, which most aren't, you're going to have to wear lots of different hats, which can be so much fun, right? You can try things that you didn't get to try before. You can do things that you couldn't do before because you are a business owner. So, next thing. So that's your number 2. You can turn your passion into profits. Something that you love to do and people will pay you for can mean significant amounts. But don't make the mistake. Just because you're good at something and there's passion behind it, there also has to be that market for it. Okay, there has to be a market for what you're selling. Also, the next part is, if you're really interested in building wealth for yourself through the use of a business, through becoming a business, you have to charge what it would take to build that business. Setting up a budget. Okay, that's one of the big things. I've had clients, they're like, oh, I'll just charge what I would charge as an employee. Well, the problem is that doesn't encapsulate all of the expenses that go with that. And you won't be able to build something. You'll just be a fancy employee. And that's not a good position to be in, right? You will go out of business if you're just a fancy employee. Okay. If you don't bring more to the table than that employee, then you're going to want to make sure that you are being adequately compensated for your time and energy and knowledge, right? The next thing is you're going to want to, what is it? I'm sorry. The next reason why you need to do it is that you can increase your earning potential. No one sets your salary. The harder you work, the more successful you are, the more you can control what bring in. I'm not suggesting that's like all of the time, but the goal is to make more money to help more people, right? So you can, like, when you get a job at somebody, and again, I'm not dissing a job. Everybody has a different need, so please don't misunderstand. I'm not saying jobs are bad. I'm saying that if you want to build true wealth, you're not going to be able to do it at a job because somebody else is deciding how much they're willing to pay you. Versus as an entrepreneur and a business owner, you can go out and you can market better. You can do things differently that will get you the money that you want, right? Versus all you can really do at most companies is ask for a raise when you're doing well, right? Or you get an annual raise. Now, for some people, that's perfectly fine, perfectly acceptable. That's what they want, no problem. But if you look at the people that have truly built wealth in this nation, in the United States of America, if you're watching it from here, these people are the ones that have built a business. Yes, there is more risk. It is much harder to build a business than it is to be an employee in that respect. But if you're talking about building real wealth in your life, a business is a great way to do it. You have so much more control. There's so many more options. The next one, and this is my personal favorite. I think this is one of the reasons why I went into business, is to create jobs for other people, right? So they're not taking the risk. They're not seeing the same level of rewards. And maybe that's perfectly fine for them. But imagine being able to pay people what they're worth, right? We get so many complaints about people not getting paid what they're worth. Well, in this instance, you get to decide that. You can pay people what they're worth, right? You can live a great life and build an amazing company if you're willing to pay people what they're worth. And you can help them build a better life. Maybe they don't want to be an entrepreneur. Maybe they don't have that risk factor. But you can help them create jobs. And you can help more customers through that, right? You can hire those marketing companies. You can hire your accounting firms. You can hire your attorneys, that type of thing. But you can't do that as a job, as someone who's in a position. I mean, yeah, you might be the HR hiring manager, but you're not going to be creating those jobs. Yes, you're offering jobs, but you're not creating jobs. As a small business owner, you create jobs. In fact, 65% of all jobs are created by small businesses. So basically 2/3 of the workforce are small business owners, are created by small business owners. And you can create an amazing opportunity there. All right, the next thing, this is important. You are going to learn to fail. What do I mean by learn to fail? You're like, I can fail without taking a business. I mean, as an entrepreneur, you don't have the luxury of failing and staying down, not if you want to be in business for any period of time. So when you learn to fail, you'll fail faster, but you will be more successful coming back. One of the things that this is true, so true. The benefit of being a small business owner is you're like a speedboat, right? Like you go through the water, woo, you can tow somebody. You can't do that as the Titanic, right? You can't do that as a freighter. You can't tow someone. You can't help them that way. Yeah, you've got bulk and you can do a lot, but you can't move. You can't tuck and pivot. But as an entrepreneur, you can. You absolutely can be more flexible in what happens. So if something fails, great. Try something else. Something fails for a really long time, really try something else. Don't give up. This kind of was about my video on Monday about goals and being flexible in how to get there, right? Your goal is your hard thing, the absolute, the thing that you want to do the most. But how you get there shouldn't be nearly as important. If you find a product or something that you're offering isn't working, stop doing it. I know that sounds funny, but it's so true. People try to hold on to what they had hoped would work rather than holding on to what does work, right? So if you offer a product to somebody and it's not selling, don't keep trying to sell it. Don't spend that money, that time, that energy, the cost of goods sold to sell something that isn't worth selling. So that's the thing. So you need to learn to fail. I know that sounds funny. Again, I get it. But the faster you learn to fail, the more successful you're going to be. You want to increase the chances of your success, fail faster. You want to increase the opportunity for wealth, fail faster. Because the closer every time you fail, you get closer to that success. Remember when I talked about bread, right? Lots of white bread out there. There's lots of white bread out there, but you have to look at it as everybody has a preference, right? Again, one of the ways that you can create a really great business is by taking a product that already has a market and innovating it. That by far is one of the best ways to earn income. Tammy writes, what is the amount that a business has to claim for tax reasons? So I'm not a tax attorney, but I can tell you that taxes, it's basically all of your income. Now you get options for deductions that you get in business that you do not get as a private citizen, as a wage earner. But you report all of your money for taxes and you deduct the expenses that go with running a business. and that gives you your net. So there's your gross, that's all of your income minus your net, or minus your expenses. And you should have an accountant or someone doing your books for you as well. It's a much safer bet than trying to do it on your own. There's a couple of things that I always recommend to people. There's a lot you can do by yourself, but the two things that I recommend that you have is a good attorney and a good accountant. And bookkeeper. Those are your three, I should say. Those are the things that you're going to want to do. So, or have, because those are the areas. What if you don't make that much? Do you still have to claim? Yes. All income is required to be reported for tax purposes for a small business. If you doubt that, talk to the IRS. They will absolutely tell you to claim everything. They want you to claim drug money. So I'm not suggesting anyone sells drugs that's listening to me. I'm simply telling you that according to the tax code, they want you to report all income from all sources. So tax code is very specific on that. If you're a drug dealer, they want you to report your income. The idea being that if you don't report your income, then they can get you for tax evasion. If you do report your income, then they can get you for committing the crime. So for tax reasons, you report all of your income, and then you deduct your expenses. And this is really where that bookkeeper comes into play, to be able to give you the best deductions as possible, so that you're getting the right amounts. You're not taxed on anything extra. So, yeah, it's still everything, and then take your deductions. Okay. So the next thing, and this is last but certainly not least, is you get to become an expert. No one will know your business or business in general better than you. That is, it's so crucial, and people will look to you for advice and help. I mentor several new attorneys. I mentor several different businesses, mainly because I've been doing it, and I do these things, and I help people, and I like helping people. The important thing to remember is that you should be compensated for your time. So in some instances, yeah, I do charge for that, for business help. My YouTube videos, these are my way of showing you what I know and helping you to understand that I'm here to help. You're welcome, Tammy. So keep those types of things in mind, is that there's lots of opportunities for help out there. And there's lots of opportunities to sell things. If you don't have an ideal product in mind, there's always drop shifting. Woo! Drop shipping. There we go. And one of my guests on my podcast, Laura Rahib, she is the e-com wolf, and she is doing very well with e-commerce. She has great ways of helping you to do that. So there are lots of different ways to be an entrepreneur. There is no set formula. There are certain things that will lead to greater levels of success, but that doesn't mean you have to follow that to perfection, right? You get to kind of pick your own path, but just keep in mind certain things work better than others. Don't try to go it alone if you can at all avoid it. If you can get people to help you and build it, then that's your best bet. So that's it. If you haven't already, don't forget to hit subscribe and like, and know that we go live Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. and we'll see you tomorrow. Actually, no, Friday. We'll see you Friday.